Mental health and the multi-center.
In Kingston, there are quite a few different examples of how mental health affects everyone in the community, and we have chosen one that we feel really shows how much it can affect people. A few years back in downtown Kingston, there was a man who stabbed 2 people and himself. We found this is a good example of how mental health can affect other issues in our community, such as depression and substance abuse, as well as violent acts. Here are some statistics on how mental health can affect Canadians annually. In a year, 1 in 5 Canadians experiences a mental illness or addiction problem. 34% of high school students experience moderate to serious symptoms of anxiety or depression in Ontario. In 2016, 29% of the deaths of people aged 15 to 19 were suicide. 10.5% of persons aged 18 to 34 experience mental illness.
Mental health affects all aspects of our lives. The things that cause social injustice are the brand of infamy, social media, traumatic and abusive situations, early loss of a significant person, being neglected, and poor ability to connect and relate to others. The government responsible for this social issue is the provincial government, with smaller contributions from the federal government every now and then. The provincial government is in charge of everything that falls under healthcare, and politicians are currently discussing and discovering this social issue, but not at a level that would affect anything in our community.
7.3% of people over the age of 12 in Kingston reported that they have a poor mental health. 30 to 35% of the homeless population reported having a mental illness. The majority of this population constitutes of women, who are in general more likely to have a mental illness due to hormones.
These statistics take a huge part in the case of social injustice. We believe that nobody deserves to suffer from a mental health issue and illnesses by themselves and without help.
Mental illness can cause all sorts of different things to happen in your life. Some of the short-term effects of mental illness are alienation from peers, anger, fear, sadness, and feeling helpless. These short-term effects, if not recognized, can become much more serious and cause other long-term effects such as substance abuse, weakened immune system, eating disorders, skin conditions such as psoriasis and eczema, and in the most serious cases, suicide.
The multi-center serves the youth of KFLNA, as well as Napanee, Northbrook, Sharbot Lake, and Sealy Bay. It offers services in both French and English, so there will be no language barrier and they will truly be able to help and support those in need. The multi-center may sound like a fairly new organization to you. That's because it was formerly known as Pathways for Children and Youth, but it was renamed in 2018 in honor of Joanne Maltby.
When we made a trip to the Maltby Center, we met an amazing woman named Amber McCart. We talked a lot about her mental health services and her viewpoints. You could tell by the way she talked and the tone she had how much passion she had for these kids and her belief in helping them have the best life they can. The meeting we had with her was an overall inspiration, but there was one thing she said that really stuck with us. In terms of teenage suicides, people feel like they don't belong in this world and that they won't ever be happy. No one should ever have to feel like that, and even if they do feel like that, they shouldn't have to go through it alone. She is so devoted to these people, she deserves the recognition and something that she has helped achieve that can allow her to get something back from all that she has given.
Like many charities have, the Multi-Center has missions, visions, and values. The Multi-Center has set on a mission to make a positive change in the lives of children, adolescents, and families. They have a vision for the community to help create possibilities for change in young lives. The Multi-Center has many core values as well, like the abundance of possibilities, the people can grow and change, and building healthy communities through creating healthy relationships.
It may seem like the Maltby Center is a small clinic, but they have lots of people that come and go. But they are lacking the funding to be able to expand even bigger and better than they are now. Each day, the Maltby Center helps 70 to 100 people. 50 to 80 of those have booked appointments, and around 20 come in from their walk-in clinic. On average, there are over 3,000 kids who benefit from their services per year. 37 other organizations partner with the Maltby Center to accomplish everything they work towards. And as much as it seems like it, the Maltby Center doesn't only help youth. Each year, almost 500 parents and adults are benefiting from the services, and the Maltby Center has a community of 9 kids who consult on how they can improve their services, and everyone can be happy.
The Maltby Center offers all sorts of different programs. In their mental health services, Maltby offers walk-in clinics, counselors and therapy, intensive home care, parental education, psychiatric and psychological services, and other specialized services. As well as their mental health services, they also offer autism services for children up until the age of 18, as well as their families. 95% of persons who went to the walk-in clinic felt better after, and 50% of that 95% returned for a second appointment. During this pandemic, the Maltby Center has adapted to the new normal and are now also offering online mental health services where clients can book a video conferencing appointment. This is Sam. He is one of the many success stories of the Maltby Center. And I actually know him personally. Sam used to be one of my trampoline athletes that I coached about a year ago. After a little bit, Sam stopped showing up for classes and no one really knew why. While doing research on the Maltby Center, I stumbled across a video about Sam and his successes. After a traumatic experience and depression, Sam came to the Maltby Center knowing that he needed help. During a series of treatments, such as cognitive behavior therapy, Sam was able to take control of his mental health and now no longer relies on medication. Sam's story really showed us how hidden mental health can be and how easy it can be to overlook it.
How we can change our attitudes towards mental illness. The first step that we can take towards changing the mentality towards mental illness is to recognize that mental health is part of physical health. For example, poor mental health increases the risk of chronic physical conditions. Another step that can be taken to destigmatize mental illness is to talk about it and to hear stories from others that would motivate those in need to help themselves. To contribute to the destigmatization, the Maltby Center is part of a program called The New Mentality. The New Mentality is an Ontario-wide network of youth ages 14 to 24 that works to change the mentality towards mental health by having workshops, hosting presentations in schools and in the community, as well as other projects.
As well as other services, the Maltby Center offers a crisis line. This crisis line is one of the Maltby's most critical programs. This phone line allows clients to have help wherever and whenever they need it. When times are really difficult for a client, they can call in and tell whoever is on the other line that their situation is urgent. They will then let them talk about what is bothering them and put together a plan to make sure they feel better. After hours and weekends, the crisis line gets transferred to adult services because Maltby doesn't have enough funding for full-day youth-specific services.
Being involved with this community of the Maltby Center has truly changed our perspectives. We plan to stay involved in every way possible. So Jeannie would like to join the advisors committee. We are in the process of planning a toy drive for when this pandemic is over, as well as continuing to make a push for mental health awareness and being an advocate for the Maltby Center services.
We hope this presentation motivates someone in our community to advocate for better mental health services and allows more people to come forward and help themselves in tackling their mental health issues, especially in these stressful times.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation. We hope that it has made a positive impact on our community.